This story right here is very disturbing and disgusting at the same time. And I first heard about it on Harvey's channel, Your World. Go subscribe if you haven't done so already. And this is about Jeffrey Toobin, who, works over at CNN. And let me tell you, it's some sick people in this world in places that you probably would have never expected for them to do something like this. I'm gonna say this, don't think that just anybody who wears a suit is professional. Because while this guy may wear a suit every day, it doesn't exactly mean that they're the most professional person in the world. So what did Jeffrey Toobin do in order to get suspended from CNN? And I always say suspensions can most likely lead to getting fired. They're giving them that 2 week vacation. Same thing happened to Bill O'Wife beater. So Jeffrey Toobin got suspended from CNN because he was caught masturbating on a Zoom call. They say allegedly. But let's be real here. If he didn't do it, why suspend him? Like, that's absolutely disturbing. Like, you was on a Zoom call and was masturbating. All I can think of is this. He probably thought that camera was off and that his mic was muted. And neither of them were. Clearly, they couldn't have been because they had to have seen something even if the mic was off. Imagine you being on a call and you just see all of a sudden this person whip their what out and just start going to town on it. I'm telling you, these Zoom calls are getting a lot of people in trouble nowadays. I've heard so many wild stories involving these Zoom calls. Like, just use it for professionalism. And if you want to do something involving a camera, go create yourself an OnlyFans account. But let's get into it. The New Yorker said on Monday that it has suspended the staff writer Jeffrey Toobin after he exposed himself during a Zoom call last week with employees of the magazine and WNYC radio, according to two people familiar with the call. Jeff Toobin has asked for some time off while he deals with a personal issue, which we have granted, a CNN spokesperson told multiple outlets after ignoring Fox News. Vice initially reported on Monday that the magazine was investigating an incident where the legal pundit exposed himself to members of the New Yorker and WNYC radio staffs during a Zoom call. Jeffrey Toobin has been suspended while we investigate the matter. And later in the day, Vice updated its story with the salacious detail that the CNN's top legal pundit was masturbating, but CNN's story didn't change. By 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hours after Vice changed its headline to New Yorker suspends Jeffrey Toobin for masturbating on Zoom call, CNN's story had the same initial statement that the legal analyst simply needed to deal with a personal issue. I guess that's what they call it nowadays. CNN did not immediately respond to a series of questions from Fox News, including if CNN will investigate now that the masturbating report is out there. CNN was also asked if Toobin will be allowed to participate in election night coverage if he's finished tending to his personal issue by November 3rd. CNN's website downplayed the story, chalking the whole thing up to an accident during a pivotal moment as the election looms. Of course, they was going to downplay it because that's their top employee. They weren't going to come right out and say what he did. But it's out there now, so it doesn't matter. Jeffrey Toobin, CNN's chief legal analyst and a renowned reporter for The New Yorker, has been sidelined at a pivotal moment in the run-up to the presidential election. CNN Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy wrote, the reason he exposed himself during a Zoom call with colleagues in what he says was an accident. Hold on. Jeffrey Toobin, you being on a Zoom call and pulling out your genitals, your private parts, and proceeding to pleasure yourself on a Zoom call is no accident. That was no accident. You meant to do that. Point blank, period. Are we to believe that he has no control over his urges? Are we to believe he didn't know where he was at during the time? I would like to know when in the call did he do it? Was it at the beginning of the call? Was it halfway through the call? Was it the end of the call? As if it matters. The fact is that he still did it. The incident happened during a Zoom meeting, which was described as an election simulation, featured Toobin's New Yorker colleagues, including Jay Mayer, Masha Gessen, Andrew Morantz, Jelani Cobb, Evan Osno, Sue Halpern, and Dexter Filkins, playing various roles in potential 2020 outcomes, including President Trump, Joe Biden, establishment Republicans, establishment Democrats, and the military. Toobin was playing the courts. He was playing something else, too. According to sources, Toobin was seen masturbating in what was supposed to be a 10-minute strategy session along party lines, but that it seemed like Toobin was on a second video call. Oh, a second video call? Jeffrey, who was you on that second video call with? That's what I'd like to know. So if what they're saying is true, you mean to tell me, Jeffrey Toobin, that you were on a separate video call with somebody else, jerking your chicken or choking your chicken, and you thought it was for that person, but didn't turn the camera off or the mic for the other call? He could have easily said, "I'll be right back," turned the camera off for that one, muted the mic for that, handled his business on the other one. Or maybe did it on two separate laptops or two separate computers, because I'm to believe that he has more than one electronic device that allows him to access the internet in some kind of a webcam. Anyway, the allegations against Toobin are the type of thing that would often result in an outside independent investigation. It's unclear if CNN will enlist an outside firm to probe the claims against Toobin. Prior to the reported masturbation, Toobin, one of CNN's biggest stars, offered an apology for his embarrassingly stupid mistake and attempted to explain what led to the incident. "I made an embarrassingly stupid mistake. Believing I was off camera." There it is. Believing he was off camera. "I apologize to my wife, family, friends, and coworkers," Toobin said in a statement to Motherboard. "I believed I was not visible on Zoom. I thought no one on the Zoom call could see me. I thought I had muted the Zoom call." Well, there it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. He did not turn off the camera. He did not mute the mic. Which leads me to believe now that he really was with showing his stuff to somebody else. Now he's got to answer to his wife. Because now they're going to question, who was you doing that? Who was that meant for? It couldn't have been meant for his wife, because let's just honestly say that his wife could have been there, unless she was in another room looking at it from that, from another computer source. Man, gotta do better when it comes to this technological stuff. That's funny. It's weird, but it's funny at the same time. But he just admitted right there that, that was no mistake. I hate when they say that this was a mistake. That was no mistake. He meant to do that. The only mistake he made, like he said, was not turning the camera off or muting the mic. But him doing the act was no mistake. He meant to do that. It just wasn't meant for them. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.